Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Christopher Richardson. I'm going to be your instructor for the fall 2022 track and field. This is a sports specific course here with the Concordia Masters in Coaching program. Well, first off, I want to say that it's an honor to be able to work with all of you. When it comes to the sport of track and field, it's my passion. But beyond that, education and being able to work with other coaches, that's kind of where I found myself this last few years, and I'll go into a little bit about that. But before I go any further, if whether you're new to Concordia or you're wrapping up this program, I'm a product of the program. I greatly believe in it. It's something that really shifted my professional life and allowed me to go on to heights much higher than I ever thought were possible. So you're off to a great start. You have a great alumni base that obviously that you're aware of. You probably know someone that's been through the program. Anyone I've ever talked to had a great experience, just like myself. So without any further ado, within this track and field course, my number one objective is to be a resource, because as a coach, I went through many ups and downs, many valleys. I had to go through intense, what we would consider professional development and training. And I've run across some great resources and individuals, and I come across some things that I didn't really find were actually practical for where I was. Right now, currently, I'm a collegiate coach. I'm the director of track and field and cross country at Cerritos Community College, and I've been there for the last 11 years. Community college is my passion. I've also coached high school. I run a youth program. I have multiple youth track and field clubs that I am either the director of or a part of. I've coached at the Division I level, and when it comes to the sport of track and field, most recently with Team USA, I've traveled. I've been on the Team USA coaching staff. I've been to South America, Central America, Europe, Canada, and all around North America. For me personally, my background was when I got into the sport, well, it was kind of an accident. My buddy talked me into it, and I thought I was going to be a big basketball player. But once I started getting more and more into track, I fell in love. And I was a decathlete. And from there, I started at Cerritos College as a student athlete, where I began my journey. And it allowed me to get access to the decathlon, which is 10 events over 2 days. And with the compiled score, I was a two-time community college state champion. I went to Long Beach State, where I was a two-time conference champion and a two-time NCAA Division I All-American. Got to compete for Team USA, won a NACAC gold medal. But everything has its seasons, and at the end of my collegiate career, I had some pretty substantial injuries that really shoved me into coaching. And I got my first head coaching job when I was 21 at Moore Park Community College, where we got second in the state that year. I then went to East LA Community College, where I was a director of track and field. And from there, I had the great opportunity to go to Arkansas, the University of Central Arkansas, where I was a Division I coach. I really ushered in that first cohort of Division I athletes through their transition from going D2 to D1. And we had numerous, conference qualifiers, regional qualifiers. But I think I was there about a year. Then the opportunity to take over Compton College came up, where I was a full tenured professor. And after going to Compton College, my coach, when I was at Cerritos, retired. And so that's how I got the Cerritos College job. I'm the third head track and field coach at Cerritos College in school history. So it's a great honor to be involved in the track and field world on so many different levels. And like I said, I have a lot of resources that I hope to, be able to share with all of you going forward. Specifically in this class, obviously, being a graduate level class, we want to get a little bit deeper. We're going to talk a little bit about the applied sports sciences. That's what we're going to be doing the first 3 weeks. I think it's critical to understand the sports sciences before we really take a deep dive into each one of the individualized events. Track and field is a unique sport because there's 21 events plus, right? There's more at the higher levels, but generally looking, most scholastic or collegiate programs are going to sponsor somewhere between 19 to 21 events at their level. And that's so many different types of athletes, so many different types of technical attributes that we have to consider as track coaches. So very unique. And so we'll look at how the science comes into play. Then we're going to start looking at how to have a practical perspective on developing your own individualized training philosophy. So that's one of our assignments that we'll be talking about in the coming weeks, developing your training philosophy. Though many of you have looked at or are going to explore your own coaching or leadership philosophy, which is extremely important, but also now let's get a little bit deeper in what is your training philosophy. For instance, most people were usually coach how they were coached. What we want to do is figure out why we're doing the things that we're doing. And if we have a strong philosophical background and foundation to why we do the things that we do in practice, then it's going to allow us to adapt and grow, identify our own weaknesses, figure out how to relate to different athletes and shift our perspective, because we can't coach every athlete the same, right? And with me, I'm a big believer in individualization, and I'll go over that as as the term goes. But the next thing we want to look at is looking at and being able to identify credible points of data. There's a lot of information out there with YouTube and social media. Obviously, the internet is chock full of resources and research out there, but what's valid and what's practical to us in our current setting, because I think that's the biggest thing to take away. What is practical to us? And so without going too much more into that, the things that we're going to be graded on in this class is discussion posts. Make sure that you not only answer the discussion question each week, but you also respond to at least 2 of your cohorts or individuals in our class. It's a pretty small class, so hopefully we get to know each other pretty well. Then we're going to be doing our training philosophy paper, which I'll be sharing the rubric and going over in more detail as the class goes on. Towards the end of the term, we're going to be developing an annual training plan. So you're either going to have a fictitious athlete, or I can give you a case study athlete, an individual with certain parameters, or you can take your current athletes or the athletes that you worked with in the past, and you devise a year-long training plan. And it's going to have to have a microcycle, macrocycle, mesocycle, and our technical and science data points that are obviously going to be represented within that. Then there's going to be a technical analysis. What I like to do is if you have a video, we'll get on a Zoom and you can share the technical analysis video where you'll be showing a workout, a drill, or an exercise, and then giving me your technical critique in real time. Or I can send you videos or provide you a list of videos where you could either record them on your own and then send in your narration as it relates to your technical analysis. So those are going to be our assignments for this course. When it comes to late assignments, just communicate with me. I want to make sure that I'm able to accommodate everyone, but in all fairness, we got to make sure that we turn things in a timely manner. Our training philosophy paper is really the only thing that's going to need to withstand the rigors of the APA format, making sure that we're following the 7th edition. And if you need help developing that, let me know, and I can provide you additional resources through the Concordia University Library. But other than that, I really look forward to getting through this class. I'm going to be sending out each week a Zoom link, and I know it's going to be tough to get all of our schedules together and figure out what times and day work best to get us all in one Zoom session, but I will record them and I'll be sharing those with everyone each week as well, so that you never feel that you're missing out. My goal is, like I said, with track and field, it's such an immersive sport. I want to be able to connect and I want to be able to address any of the things that you're looking to develop. And lastly, if you need to make contact with me, I provided a link through You Can Book Me. With that, you can set up a time and a day based on my schedule and your schedule, where we can either hop on a Zoom, Skype, or a phone call. Most often it ends up being a phone call, especially depending on the time zone differences. But regardless of that, we'll be able to meet and be able to engage, whether it's following up with technical or class-specific questions, or going a little bit deeper into the content of what we're covering within this course. And I want to make everyone aware that I am fully available. So if there's anything that you need at any time, please feel free to reach out to me. I look forward to hearing from you and reading all of your introduction posts on this week's discussion assignment. So other than that, God bless and have a good week.